The grind. All right. Press in. Press in. Let's like remove distractions and focus. All right. So we've been in a series for the last 2 weeks because we missed last week because we were at winter camp. But we've been in a series called The Grind. And we've been looking at how we can persevere in our faith and everything that has to do with it. And so we're going to pick that back up again. How many of you guys remember the first week? Anyone here first week? All right, so I'll give you guys a real quick summary. First week, we talked about Daniel's story when he was tested with water and veggies for 10 days. How many of you guys want to try that test? Exactly. I know. That's gross. Like water and veggies. Hard pass. So, they had that test. And then, here's the crazy thing though. All they had was water and veggies for 10 days. And they were like the, give me like an awesome actor right now. Oh, shit, Justin Bieber. Not an actor. No. All right, I got it. Hold on, I got it. There we go. Nope, I got it. Chris Hemsworth, all right? You know, like, boom. Like, they were the sharpest of the sharks. Like, they looked awesome. They were perfect. Ladies, they were like, Wonder Woman. What's that lady? Gal Gadot. Like, okay, chill. But like, they were like the healthiest of the healthiest people because all they ate was veggies and water for 10 days. It was incredible. It was insane.
Where'd they get their protein?
Then they didn't eat it because God gave them protein. Thou priest. All right. So then Noah spoke. Not last week, the week before that, and talked about the idea of our identity, right? Because King Nebi changed their names. King Nebuchadnezzar, if you missed it, we call him King Nebi. But King Nebi changed their names, and they're all like, okay, changing my name doesn't change who I am. I'm still me. I still worship God. It's great. And so we talked about this idea of how the world, in this world, they're going to try to change your names, try to give you different labels, but the only one that matters is the one that God calls you to, which is son and daughter of God, right? Okay? So, this week, we're going to go, like, to the extreme. Like, we're going to go to the max. Like, we're going to go to the point where it's like, you're standing up for what you believe in, and you're potentially about to get put to death. Like, everyone did that with me. That was weak. That was like, you're dropping like a penny in the water. Like, no, like. Okay, cool. Whatever. Alright, so, I'm praying that God speaks through me today, because I know my brain's been a little rattled. I've done stuff over there. I've done stuff for this weekend. I've done stuff for this week. And so my brain's like, so I'm going to pray that God speaks through me, and that God opens your hearts for what His Word is this morning. And then we'll jump in. So. Hey God, we're just so humble that we can be here, and we can just be in community with one another. God, thank you for bringing us here safely. Thank you for this weekend. God, I just ask that you just speak through me today, God, and let it be your words, not my own. God, I just ask that you would give the words to the students today, and that they would be open to receive it. God, we just pray this in your holy precious name, and all God's children said, Amen. All right. So, talking about this idea of persevering in our faith, right? And so, how often, I want you guys to think about this, all right? How often do you get wrongfully accused for something that you didn't do?
All the time.
All the time, right? How many of you guys have siblings? All right, cool. I'm a middle child. You know what that meant? I am to blame for everything, okay? So, all right? So, right? Y'all talking because y'all agree with me, right? So I, as a middle child, I had two sisters, and it'd be like, my dad would come home and be like, Matthew, what did you do today? I'm like, I didn't do anything. I literally did nothing. I looked at my sister, and then like she hit herself and like fell off her scooter, and then now I'm blaming because apparently I punched her in the face. Like, I didn't even touch her. Like, and promise, I did not punch my sister in the face. I'd be savage. But like, there would be times where like my sister would be like poking me and hitting me, and I'd be like, stop. She'd be like, you broke my arm! And then like, I would be in trouble. Like, you'd be like, Matt, why are you starting fights with your sister? I'm like, like, that was like a frequent thing that happened. Because it was like, you know, siblings, you have to live in the same house, you may not like each other, they may steal your clothes, you know, amen. It's terrible, right? And so you get blamed for something that you didn't do, right? And so, in those moments you got blamed, think back to maybe just one moment. In those moments that you got blamed, how did you feel? Did you feel like it's like, oh, not even worth it? Like, I don't know where this is going. Like, I'm to blame. I can't even prove myself. Like, I don't have like a security camera that's following me being like, ooh, this is what Matthew did at 10:05. This is what Matthew did at 10:06. This is what that'd be weird. Like, I don't want like security camera following me, like, follow my daily duties, like, hard pass, like, bathroom, yippee. But like, for real, like, in those moments, I know for me at least, in those moments, I lose faith. And maybe not necessarily just faith in God, but maybe I lose faith in the idea of like, hey, no one believes me. No one believes that what I'm saying is the truth. No one believes that where I'm going and what I believe and what I'm standing up for is the truth, right? And so, I want to share a story with you guys. This is second grade Matthew, 7 years old. It is story time. But so I was probably about yay high. Didn't have cool threads, didn't have cool shoes. I think I rocked like what used to be New Balances before they became cool, like they were just like white sneakers and things like that. But like, I was the kid that was kind of the outcast. I didn't really fit in. I got picked on a lot. But I want to take you to my second grade world, like, it was kind of like a world history, like, I don't know what they called it back in second grade, like social studies or something like that. Okay, we'll say social studies, okay? So second grade, social studies, right? Second grade social studies. And I remember going to class, and you go from one class, whatever, we recess, we had lunch, and then I'm in social studies. And, it wasn't lunch yet, it was prior to lunch. And we had social studies, and we're in there. And the teacher's talking and gave us an assignment. She's like, hey, you guys have to draw, like, the World Continent, and then, like, you have to draw, like, color in the shades and whatever. And so there was, like, 10 boxes of pastels all across the room, all right? Which is a lot, like, because there's, like, one of those, like, 10 box of, like, 24 pastels or whatever. But they were all across the room. And I remember being clearly, like, that, like, we were all trying to share pastels because there was only, like, one really good, like, white, sharp pastel. And then there's, like, only, like, half of, like, one that was, like, a good red color. And then the rest were all, like, mashed and broken up and whatever. And I remember that we were all sharing pastels. And I remember that one of my friends took, like, a pastel from another table. Which, like, second grade, like, that's World War III. Like, you don't take a pastel from another table. Like, and so straight up, like, you know, took the pastel from another table, and immediately everyone turned to me and was like, you stole the pastel! And I was like, no, I didn't. And like this whole time, like the teacher is now talking to like one of the admins from the office and like pulling up, paying attention, but they're like, you stole the pastel! And so then like, it went from like, them just like blaming me to like outcasting me. Like, oh, well you need to go to jail, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know why it escalated that quickly, but then like, so a kid drew my photo of my face on a picture and on the whiteboard and like put wanted above it and said, you're wanted because you stole the pastel and you know you did it and it was wrong. And then I just started getting bullied. Like then they're just like, oh you're a loser, you can't even use your own pastels and blah 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 blah. And I was like, no, like geez, this is savage. Like this is terrible. Like I'm a second grade year old. I was like about 7, I think. Second grade year old. I'm a second grader, about 7 years old. That's what I meant to say. I combined the two. But now I'm like destroyed. At this point, I'm like, blah. I'm like, why y'all hate me? Like, I'm crying, like I'm a wreck, like, I'm like, and here's the worst part. All my friends that were at my table didn't stand up for me. Didn't say anything, didn't act, didn't do anything. And so I stood there and I'm like, ah! And so I got up, I walked out of the classroom, I walked down the hall, I walked outside, and I left. And I left the school and I started walking home. I don't know where I was walking.
I wish I could do that.
Second grade, and so I had no clue where I was going. But I started walking. And so I get walking, and I'm walking, and I'm like, I honestly don't remember the path I took, but I just started walking. So I got on like this side road. There was like a pretty busy side road, and I'm walking. And just gone. And like the teachers didn't know I was gone for a while. The students didn't know I was gone for a while, but I was gone. Just walking. And in that moment, I just felt destroyed. I felt terrible. I felt picked up. I felt like I was standing up for myself. I was standing for what I believed in. And not even my friends stood up for me. No one stood up for me in that moment saying, hey, no, Matt didn't take it. No. But I was just like, felt vulnerable. I just lost faith in everything. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't. And how many times, like, are we in this moment where there's something that we should stand up for? There's something that we believe too, and that we should stand up for what is right, and we don't do it. How many times do we do that? A lot. I'm in those moments. Sometimes it's because we feel like the pressure from our friends, like what they're going to think and what they're going to say about us when we do that. Sometimes there's pressure of the world of like, oh, what is the label that's going to be thrown on me? Sometimes there's pressure from even our parents or different things of like, well, what do they expect from me? Or what is, like, and there's these moments where like, hey, this is what I believe in, this is what I want to stand up for, but I don't. And I don't stand up for what I believe in. And see, that's where we're going today, and that's where I think in Daniel's life that we see this crazy moment that Daniel does not waver in his faith, and he stands up for what he believes in. Because chapter 6, Daniel chapter 6, verse 16, okay? We're going to get there in a minute, but I want to give you guys some kind of precursor spark notes, okay? So, basically we've gone through Daniel's life a little bit, and looked at the different experiences and the moments he's had. But, we're going to fast forward ahead a little bit, okay? So today we're not going to talk about King Nebi. Everyone go, oh. We're not talking about King Nebuchadnezzar today, I'm sorry. We're talking about a new king, alright? So we're in this new era. King Nebi has come and passed, right? And now we're talking about the new era, the new king. This is King Darius that we're talking about, okay? Everyone say King Darius.
King Darius.
No, like y'all be like, King Darius.
King Darius.
Okay, that's still the same, but it's okay. He's about 62, alright? And he had 120 straps, alright? I'll tell you what those are in a second. And 3 key administrators, okay? So, straps are basically like key officials, okay? They're like, if you think of like the government, you guys have like war position and stuff like that. So like, there's like the president, and there's like the 3 main officials, and there's like all these like people that are like in there that are like helping make bills and make decisions and stuff like that, right? So that's what these guys are. So, there's King Darius, there's Daniel, and 2 other guys, and then there's all of these people underneath them that help make decisions for the king, right? And so where we're at, I'm going to kind of give you like a spark note version to get us to where we're going today. But Daniel's there, and we've learned about Daniel. He distinguishes himself highly among like everyone else, right? He stands out because of his character, because how trusting he is, how honorable he is, the things he does. He's just like, it's like one of those people where you're just like, that's the man to go to. Like, you know, like if everything was to go crazy, like right now, there should be a fire burst out. Boom! You'd be like, who am I going to? Like right now, there's a fire that burst out. I'm looking at Noah, I'm like, Noah, what are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going? And Noah's going to let me hanging because he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's the man I'm going to right now. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, Noah's got my back, I got his. That's where we're at, I hope. That's where we're at right now. And so, that's what Daniel was for, like, the kings, right? And so, everyone was like, oh, like, Daniel such as, like, puts his bar, like, you know that kid in, like, PE class who was, like, just, like, for real. Like, it's like, it is PE. This is not like pro sports, alright? Like, you ain't getting a college draft off of this, alright? So like, they're like, boom, get that out of here! Not today! Like, you're like, what are you doing, bro? This is PE! This is junior high basketball, okay? Like, calm down! Like, and so like, this was Daniel, but Daniel wasn't boasting about it, but Daniel was like that key high guy. He was up there. Like, he was like, boom, like he's the guy you're like, #1 pick, here we go. Like, that was Daniel, right? We've gotten the Daniel's really trustworthy, and that's like my #1 pick, right? So, basically, these representatives are getting frustrated. They're like, ugh, Daniel set the bar so high, like, that, like, everything we do, like, gets looked at, and then we're like, oh, what would Daniel do? Like, it's like, come on, like, what about me? Like, what would I do? What would Matt do? Like, no, what would Daniel do? Follow his lead. And so they get frustrated, and they start getting jealous of Daniel. And they're like, there's got to be a way that we can get rid of Daniel. Like, he's got to have done something wrong in his life, whether it's like several years ago or whatever. But there's got to be a way to get rid of Daniel, so that like the bar's not so high anymore, right? And so they start like kind of like thinking, and they're like, well, let's try to put Daniel in jail for something that he did. You know, let's look on his record and see what he did. And so like, they're going through, and they're like, what did Daniel do? And it's like, maybe like half of a sticky note, and it's like, he talked during the teacher talking. Like, that's it. Like, there's nothing on his record. Like, there's nothing there for Daniel whatsoever. And so they're like, we can't put him in jail. Like, this is terrible. Like, what do we do now? And so, it was because Daniel was so trustworthy, and Daniel was such a humble guy, that there was nothing and no charges could be brought up against him. And so then they go to, like, plan B, and they're like, all right, well, let's go to, like, King Darius, and, like, let's bribe him, you know, let's, like, make him feel good. So, like, hey, King Darius, man, you look so good, man, like, you're leading us so well, like, doing a great job, like, so great, like, you know, we wouldn't worship anyone else, but we're worshiping you, King Darius, like, you know, that's what everyone should do, right? You know, kind of like planting these little seeds, right? Well, then they start scheming and planning, and they're like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a 30-day plan. All right? So for 30 days, King Darius, they're like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to tell King Darius for 30 days that nobody can worship any other gods or any other human for 30 days. And if so, here's the consequence. You throw them in the lion's den. Super easy, right? 30 days. Like, no one can worship anyone else, right? And so this is where they're at. This is kind of where we're going to be picking up here in a minute. Is basically they take that to King Darius, and King Darius is like, all right, cool. Like, I mean, I guess so. I think that's kind of fair. Like, don't worship anyone else. Only 30 days. Cool. And like, he probably wasn't like really thinking. He probably had like a bunch of other things to do. And so like the guys were like, hey, King Darius, just real quick, hey, we thought 30 days. Like, don't do anything else other than worship you. And then like, hey, if someone wants to say per se worship someone else, hypothetically, Daniel, then like you just throw them in the lion's den, no big deal, right? Cool, sound good? Sound right here. And like, so they did that. King Darius was like, all right, cool, I agree to that. Like, it doesn't sound like too bad, right? No, like a lion pit. Like, okay, so I don't know if you've seen the lions. Like, this isn't like the fluffy lion that you see right here, like this cute little stuffed animal. This isn't like, imagine this stuffed animal, but like with like sharp razor fangs out of it. It wouldn't be a cute, stuffy, fluffy animal anymore. It'd be like, ah! Like, it'd be terrifying. I'd have nightmares, all right? But nightmares. I'm sorry, nightmares, mirrors, I don't know. But it was like a lion pit, so like that's where all lions were. Like there wasn't like just one little lion. It was like, oh, it's so cuddly. No, like 4 savage lions that may have not eaten in like 4 days. So they're like, nah, like they're gnawing on bones, like breaking it down. Like they're like, where's the hungry? Hey, I guess that's how lions sound. I don't know. But
It's true.
that is where we're about to pick up, because basically, here's what happened: is Daniel heard the news and was like, okay, like really? He was kind of disheartened. He was like, really? Like you want to pray only to the king and not my true God? Like, I don't think so. And so what does he do? He goes home, and for the next week, at least, he goes home, he goes to the top floor of his house, right? The windows open into Jerusalem, like so it wasn't like behind doors, like secret. Open to the public, gets on his knees, and prays. Every single day. Goes to work, comes home, goes to the top floor, gets on his knees, and prays. Every single day. And he doesn't just pray. Like, he prays and he thanks God for all he's done in his life and how he continues to provide and protect him. But then he prays for help amongst all of that's going on, right? And so, obviously, what do these guys do that are trying to scheme against Daniel? They catch him. They are like, binoculars from the castle, like, ooh, what is Daniel doing? Oh, hey, look, he's doing it again. He's praying again. That's 2 times. Ooh, he's definitely going to the lion's den now. Like, boom. And so that is where we're going to pick up, right? That's where we're going to pick up the story, because this is where the king kind of like, you see like a heart change start to happen in the king's heart. And so we're going to pick up chapter 6, verse 16. And so basically the men come up to the king and like, hey, remember, you made this law. You can't change it. This has to be. And so the king's kind of disheartened, because the king's like, no, not Daniel. Daniel's the good one. Like, you guys are subpar to Daniel. Daniel's like the man. Like, And so basically, the king's like, all right, well, that's the order. So the king gave the order, pick up verse 16. So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. Okay? So this is where we're at. Daniel's in the lion's den. Done absolutely nothing wrong. Convicted of doing nothing wrong in the sight of God's eyes. But in this law that these wicked men came up with, was thought to be wrong, right? Throw him in the lion's den. And the king said to Daniel, may your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you. And I love there's an exclamation point out there, because he's almost like crying this out to Daniel. Like, the king is feeling bad at this point, because if you read out just a little bit, there's a moment where the king's like, is there any other way? Like, it's Daniel though. Like, we don't have to kill him. Like, there's a moment. Like, and the king's like trying to fight for Daniel. And he's trying to fight for him, and he can't. And so basically, he's like, may the God that you continue to serve rescue you. Like a king that doesn't necessarily believe in this God, right? Okay, continuing on. Verse 17. So a stone was brought in place over the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet ring, with the rings of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation may not be changed. That's huge, guys. Like, that's like one of those moments where the king doesn't just come out and be like, oh hey, we just buried a guy, we're gonna put a stone in front of it and seal it with my ring. No, that doesn't happen. Like, this is one of those things where it's you cannot undo what I did. Like, you cannot undo what the king did. Otherwise, punishment is probably like death, probably going to another lion's den. But you can't undo this. And so basically that's like the king's putting his stamp on this saying, hey, I don't want to, but I have to because I made the law, and it can't be undone. Other than me. I'm the only one that can like come back and change this. And so, it's crazy. It's crazy. Daniel's in the lion's den, stone's in front now, right? Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night without eating, without entertainment being brought to him, and he could not sleep. This is crazy, all right? You're the king, all right? So imagine every single night you have entertainment brought to you, so jesters or whatever going on, like, you know, you're watching Game of Thrones, but live version instead of on a TV, like, you know, all these things are happening, right? You have like this bounty of like food, like just crazy, a bountiful amount of food, just crazy, enough to eat. Doesn't even touch a single bit. And then on top of it, the king can't even sleep because he is so disheartened because of the decision that he has made. He's restless, absolutely restless. And so what happens continuing on in the story? It just blows my mind. It comes like, oh, like, this is crazy. And so continuing on the story, in verse 19, thank you. At the first light, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called out to Daniel in an anguished voice, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions? I'm imagining this moment right now. Like, close your eyes with me real quick. Imagine this moment. You're in a lion's den. It's been night and day, right? Now flip-flop. Now jump into the king's shoes. You've restlessly been struggling with this idea of this guy that you put in the lion's den. And you're like, it's morning time, we get to remove the stone. If he's still alive, we pull him out. If he's dead, well, either way we pull him out because we can't just leave his body in there, we have to go bury it. And so like, the king's like rushing to the tomb. And he's like, as he's coming in, he's running, he's like, hey, Dad, you alive? Like, he's like, man, like, shout something out. Like, did your God save you? Are you alive? Like, I'm imagining this king is like, whoo, I don't expect to hear anything, but he's hoping. He has this like small glimmer of hope that Daniel's alive. And I'm imagining like still being in the king's shoes right now. Imagine this response that Daniel gives back to the king's heart. Like imagine this moment, right? Daniel answered, may the king live forever. My God sent an angel, and he shut the mouths of lions, and they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight. Nor have I ever done anything wrong before you, your majesty. That's crazy! If a king throws me in a lion's pit, I'm not calling him my majesty. I am sorry. Absolutely not. But Daniel is continually such a humble guy that he's faithful to not only his king, but his God. And he said, hey, God sends an angel. I don't know what happened, but I was sitting down here, and lions like licking their lip for a minute, and then they couldn't open their mouth. Like, and so we just all snuggled up and had like a big old bonfire all night, and it was good. Like, we were fine. I don't know if I snuggled up against the lion. You know, they might get hungry. But he's like, they did not even harm me. Like, you know, they shut their mouths. What about their claws? Like, lions don't have these like cute little like file nails. No, they're talons. They're claws. Like, they could have like even just like ripped them up, and then that way, so once like, you know, they're able to open their mouths again, I guess, be able to nibble or eat on them or something like that. But they didn't even like scratch him. He wasn't even hurt at all. That's crazy. Is that only crazy to me? Is that crazy to you guys as well?
Not really.
Not really? Okay. Every day you see a man come out of the lion's den alive. Okay.
He's Daniel, so.
And he is Daniel. That's true. That'll preach. But think about this, all right? Daniel had trusted in his God way before he even got to the lion's den. Way before his life was even in danger. He knew that his God was going to protect him and watch over him way before he got thrown in. And he knew that because his God was faithful. Throughout all of his journey, throughout all of his trials, throughout all of his struggles, his God was faithful. Now to pick back up in my story where I kind of left off, I was walking on the side of the road. And basically, I'd aimlessly been walking. I probably walked for like a good 10, 15 miles away from the school. Like, at this point, I probably don't know where I am. Again, I'm 7 years old. Like, and so I'm walking on the side of this road, and I remember it vividly. Like, it's like, just like it was yesterday. There's grass right here, there's big old pine trees, because this is Washington. And I'm walking, and I remember this car pulls up on the side of the road in front of me and gets over. And this was like my tutor teacher that would like help out with like all of our classes and any students that needed extra help with either homework or assignments. She was coming back from lunch. And like, there's no coincidence that she happened to be coming this way back from lunch. There's no coincidence that she happened to see me back from lunch. There's no coincidence that she happened to come by at that exact time. She happened to come back from lunch and she pulls over, she comes out, and she grabs me and she goes, "Are you okay? Are you hurt? What's wrong? What's going on?" Like, because at this point, she doesn't even know what's happened at the school. She grabs me and she comforts me and she brings me into the car, and then we head back to the school. But at that point, obviously, in 30 minutes without a student being in a classroom, I would hope the police got called, and that they were trying to find the kid. And so my parents had showed up to the school, the police were called, they were trying to find me, they were trying to track me down. They were just trying to figure out what was going on. And I was like terrified. I never wanted to go back to that classroom. I never wanted to be back in that room. I didn't want to see or talk to my friends. I was, one, embarrassed, two, terrified of what the experience might be like if I go back in that room. And so for the rest of the year, I ended up going to they had different mobile houses that were on the property as well that were classrooms, but they were separate classrooms for different students that had either different needs or different abilities, so that way they could have a more intimate learning experience. And so I joined that class, I was with that class for the rest of that year until I came to the next year. But there's no coincidence that God placed an angel watching over me, which was in the form of that teacher that was able to come alongside me, find me, grab me, protect me, comfort me, and bring me back. And see, in this moment, it's crazy. Like, you continue reading on. After that moment where we hear, like, okay, whatever, this is cool, like, Daniel's praising him. It continues on of this, like, amazement in my mind, because I look at this and it goes, verse 23, "The king overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And then Daniel was lifted from the den. No wound was found on him, because he had trusted in God." This next part, we're not going to read it. It's not in there because I didn't put it in there. But I just want to, give you a snapshot. The Bible's pretty raw. If you read the Bible, it doesn't like sugarcoat like moments of like crazy. The Bible's raw. It straight up says, the king commanded. The king commanded the men that falsely accused Daniel to be brought and thrown in the lion's den. With their wives, with their children. This is crazy, right? Like, their whole family. Like, it wasn't just like the punishment of just like them. Their whole family. And it says before they even reached the floor, the lions ripped them apart. Limb to limb. Like, the Bible's raw. I'm sorry. It's in here. It's straight up. Rip them apart. Like, okay, you tell me that's not God? Like, these lions all night with one dude, they're probably hungry. Like, they're like, KFC, let's go! And now they got like the whole bucket. They got the whole family value bucket. Like, sorry, that's bad. But they got the whole bucket. They're like, let's go! It's fish time! Like, this is crazy! And you gotta tell me, you gotta believe that wasn't God. Hold those lions' mouths shut. I mean, because it doesn't say like, oh, they fell in the pit. The lions came over and they picked at them. No! Rip them limb from them. Crazy. I wasn't going to bring it in there, but I think it's powerful because I think it's a moment of like, okay, my God, scary. Like, okay, no one prophesied to them. But then skipping past that, you get into the more important part. King Darius wrote to all nations, this is in verse 25, King Darius wrote to all nations and peoples of every language in all the earth. So remember those seeds that were planted where King Darius' heart was starting to become changed, that he was feeling convicted. He couldn't sleep all night because of his actions and what he did. And now he has written to everyone. Like, this is like one of those moments where you accidentally sent the e-bite to everyone, and you didn't mean to invite everyone, but you sent the e-bite to everyone. That's what King Darius says. He sends the e-bite to everyone. He's like, may you prosper greatly. I issue a decree in every part of my kingdom. People must fear the reverence of the God of Daniel. For he is a living God and endures forever. Time out. This is a king that's like self-absorbed, like, this is me, this is my palace, this is my hood. Like, I'm thinking like he had a show on MTV Cribs. He's like, come on down, check out my kingdom. Like, that's the stable where I keep my 3 Mustangs. Not Mustang the car, Mustang the horses. This is our 18,000 bedrooms that we have in here. This is our full functioning kitchen, like, state of the art. This is our jousting pit. Like, I'm thinking like, this is a king that's like so self-absorbed. And now he's like, in my kingdom, my people must fear the reverence of the God of Daniel. Okay, there's some seeds getting planted among people. But then continuing on, for he is the living God, he endures forever, his kingdom will not be destroyed, his dominion will never end. He rescues and saves. He rescues and saves. He performs signs and wonders in heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions. Guys, do you get that? By Daniel's faith, by Daniel's belief in his God, he changed the heart of a king, which then ended up changing the heart of a nation and nations to come. Because those were all seeds that were planted by Daniel's faithfulness. And see, all it was by stepping out in faith and facing his lion. See, it may not be a figurative lion, and maybe not be even a soft, plushy lion. But there may be a lion in your life that is holding you back from standing up for what you believe in your faith. And you need to stare that lion in your face, stare that lion in the face because of your faith in God and say, all right, I believe that my God is going to get me through this. I know that He's a God that saves and rescues. And because of that, I am not scared of standing up for what I believe in. Because when you do that, God shows up in crazy ways. Crazy ways. It will change the trajectory of your life. Because when you step out in faith, God shows up. When you step out in faith in school, God shows up and He's there with you. When you step out and invite that friend to church, God will show up. It may not be you necessarily that gets into church, but you planted a seed. And then maybe another friend comes along and says something. And maybe another friend comes along and says something. And then maybe that friend that you've been inviting for a long time, his life just blows up. And they're like, I don't know what else to do, but I just need some people to hang out with and some people to talk to. And they reach out to you and say, hey, do you still go to that Wednesday night group? Or hey, do you still go to church? What do you guys do there? I'm just looking for someone to hang out with. Just need some people to talk to. And because of all those seeds of you being faithful that you planted, you change lives. So how are you guys going to stand up for your faith? How are you guys going to stand up for your faith, whether it's in school, whether it's at home, whether it's at work? Not all y'all necessarily work, but you guys do chores and things like that. Whether it's around your friends or your different groups, whether it's when you're hanging out with people, whether it's you're at church. You'd be surprised, but there's so many people that come to church and they're fake. They're lying, that is staring you directly in the face with those teeth that are so sharp that are just by looking at them, you get a paper cut. What is that lie that you're facing right in the eyes and you're saying, no, I'm going to stand up because I know my God's going to provide. So my challenge for you guys as we continue through and we end this series next week is that you guys will be able to figure out what those are. Be able to step out in faith and stand up for what you believe in. Let's pray. Hey God, thank you so much for just allowing us to be here, be able to go through your word. God, thank you for giving us Daniel's life as an example. As an example of how we can stand up in our faith and for what we believe in. God, just ask that these students within their life and their school and their friend groups that you make them leaders. You make them the leaders of now. So many people call them the next generation. No, they're the generation now, God. And I ask that they would stand up for what they believe in. That they would stand up for what is right. That they would be there amongst each other in community and be with each other. God, I ask that you just bless the rest of this week. You bless this weekend, God. God, I just ask that you just go with them, that you go before them. God, watch over them. And God, help us be able to look that line in the face and say, I'm here, bring it. God, we are so humbled that we can be here and go through your word. And we pray this in your holy precious name. Amen. All right.